You're listening to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast, Session 18. Welcome to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast, where positivity and spirituality create an enhanced life's journey with the wisdom of Ifa and Orisha. I am your host, Iya Omileti Olubumi. Welcome to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. I am Iya Omileti. Guess what? I want to try something different. Working with a community over time, guess what is the one thing that is bound to come in? Questions. So I am introducing this episode called Ask a Priest. This is a super short episode. Life is about trying new things. So here it goes. I hope that you enjoyed this mini episode. Ebony asks, are there any suggested books for newcomers in this journey? First of all, Ebony, thank you so much for submitting your question. This is such a good one. So I have 8 books for you to consider. Don't worry about writing anything down now. This will be on the show notes, so everything will be there. Okay? So here is a little bit. Some of these books I have read, and some of these are suggestions from others who are also responding to your question. With that, let's get started. Number 1. The Altar of My Soul by Marta Moreno Vega. I read this book when I was 19 and oh my goodness, it was such an amazing read. She talks about her journey into these traditions and what she went through. I found it amazing to see how someone else had found this path and how the Orishas were a blessing in her path. I remember just thinking, oh my goodness, I can't wait for it to be me. So if you're new to these traditions, I highly encourage you to pick up this book. Number 2, Santeria Stories by Luis Manuel Núñez. I read this book a long time ago. I remember going through my journey and enjoying each story here. Basically, this is a book of pataquis, of Orisha stories. Some stories you will see retold in different variations, but keep in mind that this is an oral tradition and it used to just be passed on, and there would be some changes. Until now, of course, where we have technology and books and all this other stuff, but it's an oral tradition. Stories may change along the way from how you hear it, but if you want a way to connect with Orisha, through the stories of pataquis is a great start. Plus, you will begin to understand some of the incarnations of the Orishas. These stories are told primarily from a Lukumi point of view, and it is a wonderful read. So pick that one up as well. Number 3, Powers of the Orishas. Santeria and the Worship of Saints by my Gonzelez-wippler. Now, this is a really short book. It is a book, but to me, it's more like a booklet. It's that small. I picked up at a local botanica many years ago, and what it did for me is that it gave me a quick fix to the Orishas from a Santeria point of view. Basically like this. What Orisha is this? What does he or she stand for? What represents him or her? What is her day of the week, her color, likes, and whatever? So this is a really quick reference book for those who are in the beginning stages. Number 4, Ori, The Metaphysical Foundations of Ifa, Book 4 by Falokun Fatumbi. This is a really good book about Ori. You know, Ori is your own personal Orisha, and it's coming from the point of view of Ifa. I read pieces of this book because I wanted to, stuff to work on, and this book gave it to me. I'll be honest, I haven't read the whole thing in its entirety, but still, What I read, I found very, very useful. In our Egbe, we believe that Ori is the first foundational step. So this is a great book to get started with until you find someone who can help you work with your Ori and in your Ori worship. Number 5, The Handbook of Yoruba Religious Concepts by Baba Ifa Karate. This is a very useful book for beginners and even for not so much as beginners. I remember picking up this book in the beginning and half of it went over my head. This book is coming from a traditional point of view. Good asset to a Yoruba beliefs library. I know a lot of people who swear by this book. They loved it from the beginning. It gave them something tangible in their learning style for them to begin to connect with our traditions. Number 6, Ancestor Paths, honoring our ancestors and guardian spirits through prayers, rituals, and offerings. There's a second edition out there by Aladoku. Now, this book I have not read. However, folks tell me that this was a very influential book in the beginning of their journey as it deals with working with the ancestors. And it has prayers and it has things that you can do, especially if you don't have a godparent, if you don't have access to a community. This can be a good way for you to begin to start doing things little by little on your own. This book really came highly recommended from a number of folks, and I'm sharing it with you. Number 7, Finding Soul on the Path of Orisha, a West African spiritual tradition by Toby Melora Coriel. I hope I'm pronouncing it right, and if I'm not, I'm sorry. This is another book which I have not personally read. However, this also comes highly recommended from folks when they were beginning their journeys. And this is what someone told me, that she was an outsider. She felt like an outsider. And when she found these traditions, it was like even more of an outsider. But this book kind of spoke her language, and she found how to connect from here, and like the hows and the explanation was said in such a nice way that it made her feel like she wasn't such an outcast or a stranger, or that she didn't belong. If you were not born into these traditions, this book might definitely resonate with you. Number 8, last but definitely not least, Warriors and Alejo's Guide to the Care and Maintenance, or Warriors, by William John Irizarry Jr. This book I have not read, but I am told by others who have read it that it is a really good book, as many folks are giving Warriors and then poof, that's it. They get no help beyond that. Now, I fully suggest that if you have Warriors, to get with the priest who gave them to you to teach you how to care for them and what to do. I am told, though, that this is a really, really good book in your home to refer to if you don't have a priest to work with and you do have your Warriors, or you have your Warriors and your godfather or godparent has passed, or they have moved to another planet. Good book to have. Well, there you have it. The top 8 books that I suggest for folks new to the Orisha traditions to pick up and get them going. Please note that books in no way take the place of a godparent or oluwo or a guiding priest. But books are a way for us to begin to connect and to connect some dots in our newfound traditions. You've reached the end of this Ask a Priest episode of the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. All of the books are listed in the show notes at orishawisdom.com/session 18. In there, you will find a list of all of the 8 books that we talked about in today's short episode. Now, for full disclosure, on the links next to each book, you will find my affiliate link to that Amazon listing for that book. If you found value on what I shared with you today and you choose to get any of these books because of the podcast, and if I helped in any way by using my link, I will get a small percentage of that with no additional cost to you. And honestly, I'd really appreciate it. With that, I hope that you enjoyed today's Ask a Priest episode. Did you like it? Let me know by leaving a comment and, of course, by sharing it. I would also like to ask that if you have 5 minutes, please leave a review on iTunes, as they are very, very helpful into keeping the Orisha Wisdom Podcast on the map. Do you have a burning question that you would like to ask a priest? If so, send me an email at light@orishawisdom.com or pop into our Facebook group called the Orisha Wisdom Community and ask it there. There should always be a thread called Ask a Priest, and you can go there and ask away. Until next time, may the elevated ancestors and all Orisha bless you immensely. Odabo!
Thank you for listening to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes at orishawisdom.com/podcast. Can't get enough of Orisha Wisdom? Check us out at orishawisdom.com and subscribe to our community. Remember, the wisdom of Ifa and Orisha is all around us. Be blessed, and until next time.